Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Thursday, July 13th, 2023. This is live stream 944. If it's your first time hanging out, let me point out, super casual around here. Just talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and normally we will take a first look at a game. Every once in a while I'll do a live review, but for the most part, it's usually unboxings, first looks, page throughs, and so forth. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight, because I'm going to dive on in and take a first look at Peculiar Discoveries for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Dream Plot. And stay tuned, because I'll be letting you know how you can get into the running to win this limited edition of Peculiar Discoveries. So stay tuned. Should mention, if you are watching live because you want to see the page through of Peculiar Discoveries, let me point out we tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be about 40 minutes before I get into that page through. So if you're hanging out live, relax, put your feet up, kick back. It's Thursday. You're almost to the weekend. Be good to yourself. But if you are watching 30 minutes or more after this stream has ended, well, then there are timestamps. So if you are impatient, you just want to jump past the tabletop gaming news, you can, because just use the timestamps. Now, they are located in the show notes, or depending on the device you might be watching this on, they could be right there in the timeline of the video in front of you. So there is that for you. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream. So if you are hanging out, maybe you want to say howdy. Maybe you've got a question, a comment, possibly something about Peculiar Discoveries you want a closer look at. By all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Should point out, you must be a subscriber to the Gaming Gang channel for at least 48 hours for you to be able to take part in chat. A couple of ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. So first out the gate tonight was our pal, the Motor City Madman, followed by Flaming Huron. So we've got two of our chat moderators with us. Quite possibly have our third, maybe lurking. I don't know. Roger Prudhomme is with us, as is Kevin King, Kathy Evans, Kevin R. Smith, and I think that's it. I think I've said hello to everybody. So there's some discussion of last night's weather. So Roger Prudhomme's up in Canada. Says in Montreal, they got a tornado warning from 3 to 7 p.m. Ottawa got it rougher. So Kevin says they're supposed to get bad weather in Ohio. Yes, I see that the Madman did survive his tornado warning last night. All, what, 7 hours of it? It's like, what? So Sarah D is with us as well. So we've got a trio of chat moderators. Sarah says, lurking, or I should say asks, lurking, who does that? Don't know. I have no idea. So welcome, everybody. Good to have you hanging out tonight. This will be my last live stream for a bit. We'll talk about that after we dive on into the news, because I've got some cool stuff to talk about tonight. First off, arriving in September from Funko Games is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse game. Don't you love how I start off with, the family-friendly fare? Here's the bloody deeds. One person plays as the deranged Sawyer family, dragging victims to their farmhouse and harvesting their meat for a grisly barbecue. Yes. The other players are unwitting trespassers, doing everything they can to escape a hideous fate. But in this game, there are no winners. There are only survivors. Will you make it out alive or end up on the menu? This includes edge of your seat gameplay, which pits one player against all the others with a unique story-driven ending. It includes custom sculpted figures, dice, and 140 cards in a highly detailed, visceral art style. There's an achievement system which allows players to unlock special cards which carry over from one game to the next. How many times are you going to trespass on Leatherface's farm? How many times are you going to carry stuff over? It also includes atmospheric design, which immerses horror fans in one of the genre's all-time classic films. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Slaughterhouse, say that 5 times fast, is for 2 to 5 players, ages 13 and up, plays around 45 to 60 minutes, and it is going to carry an MSRP of $29. Yes, you heard that right, $29. When it arrives September 1st, and I do believe this is an Amazon exclusive. Now, I don't know if it's going to be an exclusive to Amazon forever, or if this will be like the first 6 months. But the Funko Games website actually links to Amazon for you to buy this. So you can't order it through Funko Games or anything like that. It has to be purchased through Amazon. I have to point out that I'm kind of surprised. We actually have 3, count them, 3 Texas Chainsaw Massacre games coming out this year. And it's strange because I don't think this marks an anniversary for it. I don't know. Did it come out in 1973? I don't think so. I thought it was a little later than that. I thought it was 74, 75-ish. And again, I could be wrong. I've only seen it once. I was never a fan. I'm just not into films starring inbreds. I know they're not really inbred, but you know what I mean. It's like Deliverance. I've seen it once, and I'm like, all right, okay. So Roger says it actually looks kind of cool. I agree. The art on the cards looks really nice. I've got a little Funko Games story I'll share with you after the news. Little bit of disappointment. Flaming Huron says 1974 is when it came out. So yeah, so this year isn't really an anniversary. So, but there are 3. There's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game coming from Trick or Treat Studios, who I have shared some news pieces about before. And they tend to have horror games or Halloween themed games. So kind of interesting. So I thought I'd let you know. September 1st is when this releases. On to the next news piece, now available from Thunderworks Games, is Dawn of Eulos. Here's the skinny. For untold eons, the mortal races lived in separate planes, unaware of other worlds beyond their own. But now the dragon god Azima forges a new world by opening rifts to other planes. Dawn of Eulos is an economic tile-laying game. Bet you didn't see that coming, did you? Economic tile-laying. For 1 to 5 players set in the world of role player and cartographers. You compete in a game among gods of the Planarverse, wagering on and manipulating the rise and fall of mortals. Control the fate of Eulos. Develop a new world, invest in your favorite factions, and pit armies against each other. Choose wisely when to exert your influence. As factions rise and fall, will you earn the most favor with the world creator? Dawn of Eulos is for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 60 to 90 minutes, does carry an MSRP of $69. Once again, this is available now. Strangely enough, I have actually never played anything from Thunderworks Games. I have not played role player, I have not played cartographers. I have heard good things about both. In fact, I've actually mentioned this story, I think, a couple of times on the live stream. Back at Origins, when Role Player first came out, I didn't get a chance to check it out, but my buddy Herman Luttman, who you may know from some of his designs, such as, Dawn of the Zeds, he and some of his friends played it. They demoed it twice because they liked it that much. Got to be honest, I don't know if they bought it, though. But it's kind of weird because I follow Thunderworks Games, and they actually follow me back. And weirdly enough, I have never actually checked out any of their games. I would really be interested in cartographers. This looks cool, too. Don't get me wrong. And you know me, I'm a tile-laying fiend. So this caught my eye. I was like, oh yeah, pretty wild. Although I have to admit, and I don't think you can really make it out too well in the images that I'm sharing here, but there is like a mind flayer, and I think it's called a flayer in this game, and it looks just like a Dungeons and Dragons mind flayer. And I was kind of thinking, isn't Mind Flayer one of the copywritten monsters? I thought it was for D&D. Don't know. So Kevin says Wikipedia agrees with Flaming Huron as far as Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming out in '74. I remember seeing it on VHS way back in the day. I think I was out of high school. I think I was probably maybe about 19 or 20 when I saw it. Because I like horror movies. I was never a big like slasher film fan. So like Friday the 13th, I saw like the first one. It was sort of like, yeah. Did like Halloween quite a bit. Alrighty. So moving right along, let's talk about some role-playing game news. Because Magpie Games has teamed up with Bundle of Holding for a money-saving offer on the Root role-playing game. Yes, and I've got deets on the deal. Vagabond. As the Erie dynasties wage war against the invading Marquis de Cat, or it could be Marquise. I don't know. I always say Marquis, but I hear more people say Marquise now, or Marquez. I'm sticking to Marquis. And the Woodland Alliance rebels against both. Animals in clearings across deep forests seek help from you, the outsiders and outcasts. criminals and ideologues, exiles and mercenaries. In Root, the role playing game from Magpie Games, you'll fight for one of many sides, braving dangers no one else will face and walking the line between banditry and heroism. As you change the course of the war, you'll reshape the woodland and maybe, at last, find your place in it. Based on the best selling Root board game from Letter Games, Root, the role playing game, adapts the Apocalypse Engine rules to let you create stories of animal courage a la Redwall, Watership Down, and Mouseguard. This all new Root bundle brings you PDFs of most of the Root role playing line for an unbeatable bargain price. For just $14.95, you'll get all 3 titles in the Root collection with a retail value of $55 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Root the Role-Playing Game core rulebook, the rules expansion, Travelers and Outsiders, and the clearing booklet. As a convenience, also included are the 4 different quick start play sets, which are all free or pay what you want. There is the generalized Root quick start and 3 location specific sets: Bertram's Cove, Peliniki Glade, and Talon Hill. These savings will run through July 31st. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to Direct Relief. So cool, you can, well, in essence, you're getting 3 of the core PDFs for Root the role-playing game for $14.95. And then you get the quick starts and stuff on top of that. So if you've ever been curious about Root the role-playing game, now would be the time to get on board at a special price. On to the next piece. There's an interesting looking 5e D&D supplement which is entering its final week on Kickstarter for Spectre Creations. Here's what I know about Kellia's Chronicles of Runes. Yes, it's runes, not ruins. Madman says, yes, the Mind Flayer is a copyrighted monster. Don't know. I'm just telling you, the image looks just like a Mind Flayer. The miniature, I should say. And then it's called a Flayer. Agent Especial is with us in chat. Kalia's Chronicle of Runes is a 300-plus page tome that brings the magic of runes to your table. Whether you're a DM looking to fill your world with ancient runic lore and extraordinary monsters, or a player eager to sink your teeth into hundreds of inspiring new races, subclasses, spells, and more for your characters, this runic sourcebook unleashes endless possibilities for your epic adventures across the multiverse. Language turned legendary. From Elvish to Draconic, Infernal to Druidic, level up your game with item-enhancing runes and fantastical scripts designed for every language. Hunt down thousands of arcane symbols infused with ancestral magic and passed down through the ages, lying in wait for brave adventurers to harness their mythical power. Level up your gear. Runes are a new kind of magic item, intuitively designed to be adapted for use at any table. You can transfer runes to equip your, you can transfer runes to equipment you already know and love, enhancing your favorite weapons, armor, and more with wondrous magical power. Explore new ancestries. Myriad races and subraces help you embrace the history and culture of your favorite runes. From half-dryads to ice devil tieflings, immerse yourself in runic themes across the spectrum of 5e languages. There's a touch of class, because this features 12 new subclasses. This runic compendium puts power in the hands of players from 1st to 20th level. Each subclass is thematically linked with a 5e language, from the Path of the Wild Barbarian, Druidic, to the Giant Patron Warlock, Giants. There's also epic allies and fearsome foes. Dozens of new creatures and NPCs in richer, rune-filled worlds, including adorable familiars and terrifying bosses. With stat blocks ranging from challenge rating 0 to 20 and higher, DMs can deploy thematic monsters at any point in a campaign. And there's much, much more. I would have shared a video. There is a very short, it's less than a minute long video for this Kickstarter. But the reality is, all it is a voiceover, and the only image you see is the cover of the book. So I thought, well, you're actually seeing more of the book right now than you would in the video. Although the voiceover is pretty nice. Kalia's Chronicle of Runes has passed the 1,000% funding mark. You heard that correctly. You can reserve a copy of the hardcover, which includes the PDF, for a $60 pledge, or grab just the PDF alone for a $25 pledge through July 20th. Expected delivery on the hardcover is next June, and expected delivery for the PDF is this December. I gotta say, this looks pretty interesting. It looks to be just jam-packed with goodies. So we've got subclasses, magic items, NPCs, familiars, loads and loads of stuff. So by all means, take a peek, and you've got a week left to back this Kickstarter. So my final news piece, Necrotic Gnome has released a preview of the Dolmenwood fantasy role-playing game prior to its August Kickstarter launch. Here's the scoop. Dolmenwood is a fantasy adventure game set in a lavishly detailed world, inspired by the fairy tales and eerie folklore of the British Isles. Like traditional fairy tales, Dolmenwood blends the dark and whimsical, the wondrous and weird. Players journey through tangled woods and mossy bowers, forage for magical mushrooms and herbs, discover rune-carved standing stones and hidden fairy roads, venture into fungal grottos and forsaken ruins, battle oozing monstrosities, haggle with goblin merchants, and drink tea with fairies. This includes streamlined rules and helpful introductory materials which will guide novice players, while unique new magic and monsters brings a fresh sense of the unknown to veteran role players. Dive into Dolmenwood with this 76-page preview of material that's going to be included in the 3 core books. This includes a player's map of the wood, the Briggle, Kindred, and Cleric and Enchanter classes. There's Fairy and Holy Magic, Hounds, Pipe Leafs, and Retainers, Encumbrance and Travel Rules. Longhorn Nobility faction is included with 4 hexes and the Lankshorn Town Excerpt. Plus 4 monsters, the Gargoyle, Goblin, Root Thing, and Yickerwill. Right now, you can score this 76-page PDF absolutely free over at Drive-Thru RPG. Yes, I know people have been waiting for this for a long time. So here's the strange thing. There we go. Kevin is jumping right into what I was going to say. I had always thought that Dolmenwood was going to be a setting book for old school essentials. It's not. It's going to be its own game. So what I'm curious about is, will this be built on, I was about to say essentially old school essentials. I would think it would be. It does have a bit of, I looked at some of the preview, and it does have kind of an OSE vibe. I did not dig too deeply into it, though. But yes, as Kevin points out, they thought it was just going to be a setting book. So Kevin also asks, or is this a way they're going to get around the precariousness of the open game license? That is a possibility. That is a big possibility. But I know there are a lot of people who are really, really looking forward to this. And I know there are some people who are a little upset that this is going to be a Kickstarter and it's going to be for a 3-volume game. So, because as Kevin R. Smith just pointed out, yeah, we were thinking it was a setting book. I guess that is not the case. But I'm curious. I like OSE a lot. And we'll see what Gavin Norman's got up his sleeve. Plus, unlike Old School Essentials, there will be content aimed at explaining how the game works, right? Because that was one of the things that OSE isn't necessarily aimed at is new players. It's pretty much basic expert, all cleaned up and easy to understand, but it does not have those kind of how to play aspects to it at all, which it does seem Dolmenwood will. And it's kind of funny. I'm always trying to say Dolmenwood, and that is not it. It's Dolmenwood. 245 Trioxin is with us in chat. Thanks for hanging out. Coco B is here as well, asking another clone of a clone. It could be. I know there are people who do take Gavin Norman to task for all the Kickstarters that keep popping up for Old School Essentials and new print runs and stuff like that. So I could see where somebody's saying, "Oh, a clone of a clone." Marius Smith is with us. I believe it's a first-time visit. Thanks for joining us. So I feel like the rules changes make things easier to run. I like OSE, but I find myself looking things up a lot. Yeah, because it's not intuitive. It's just not. It's not an intuitive layout. But once you understand like the core rules, you should be all right. 245 Triaxon says, I like the A5 digest size the most. Yeah, I like it. I dig the smaller size book. It's pretty cool. It's not necessarily pocket size, but all right. So that is the news for tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG or any of the other one bookshelf sites like Dungeon Masters Guild or Storyteller's Vault, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with those sites. So if you're going to visit, stop by thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, hopefully you're giving it a thumbs up. But if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, then you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang and make a small donation. And we've got the Madman and Proger. I did that last night too. It's like, what is going on with me today or this week? I'm thinking of other stuff. Comic-Con. We'll talk. Just a minute. Marius Smith says, I've been lurking for a long time. Thanks for introducing me to Pendragon. You're very welcome. It's a fantastic role-playing game. So, I mean, don't thank me. I mean, I'm just, the messenger. Bill N is with us from stormy Pennsylvania. Anyway, I was talking about PayPal.me. Big thanks to Roger Perdome and the Madman for making not so small donations very recently. Thank you kindly. Thank you to all of you who used the banner ads for the drive-through sites and or stop by paypal.me. Tip of the cap, everybody. So, Screen Actors Guild voted to strike starting at midnight tonight. It is going to be a very interesting San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I have to point out, it really doesn't affect me at all because I don't have anything set up with any round tables for TV shows or movies or anything like that. Only thing that gets thrown out is the possibility I was going to do an interview with Jamie Lee Curtis about her new graphic novel for Titan Comics or Titan Entertainment. I always refer to it as Titan Comics because I think that's how Titan themselves refer to it. That branch is Titan Comics. But very interesting, and I saw within minutes of SAG voting to strike, there were a bunch of panels for Hall H, which that's the big deal. Hall H, right? I've actually never been in it because even as press, you still have to stand around in line and wait. Although this year it seems not so much because I've actually had a couple of invites to Hall H panels to cover them just for, smaller stuff. But within just a few minutes, there were 4 panels that were canceled for Hall H. One was for The Rookie from ABC. They were all TV ones. That 90s show, they were going to have a panel that's been canceled because in essence, anyone who's part of the Screen Actors Guild cannot promote any current or upcoming project if they go out on strike. Now, they could go and talk about things that have already been produced. So if Tom Hanks wanted to do an interview and talk all day about the airport, or no, it was the terminal. That's what it was. He can, because that's already in the can. It's been in the can for years. So very, very strange. 245 Trioxin says, Comic-Con might be about comics this year. Imagine that. I can tell you one thing. I know there are going to be a lot of people very pissed off because, remember, I'm media, so we get a couple of. Sorry, I keep looking down. I got a paper cut from last night. It's really bugging me. So I'm like trying to, peel a little bit of skin off. I think I did. Anyway, yes, it's more info than you really needed, right? But I could say that I know there are going to be people very upset that this has gone down like this because they've paid for passes. They're paying top dollar for hotel rooms. I just saw last night because I was double checking to see if the Embassy Suites in San Diego has a breakfast because I thought they did, which they do. And then later on, I was on Google and I got things like that had popped up about booking a room at Embassy Suites. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go take a look to see if they still have any rooms during Comic-Con and what they're charging. Well, they had rooms available on Friday if you wanted to pay almost $1,200. And that was without tax and the resort fee or whatever San Diego has, which grand total I think comes out to 17%. So we're actually paying less for 4 nights at the Embassy Suites than if someone were to book for one night that Friday night. I thought that was crazy. So I had mentioned I was going to tell you a little Funko game story. So I finished up the show last night and ran and grabbed something to eat because I hadn't eaten before the show. And then I'm doing my post-show, show notes, timestamp thing. Finish that and I go check out my email, and I have an email from a press rep for Funko Games, who is no doubt they're handling everything for like Comic-Con. And there's someone else that I've been working with as far as doing interviews with Funko and Mondo, Loungefly, like I did last year. Except this year, I'm going to make sure that I set up the camera because our white balance was way off with someone else as my cameraman. I won't name any names. So anyway, so I look at this email and it says, hey, hey, Jeff, which right away, I know it's something that's being personally sent to me because anything else from Comic-Con or, companies that have gotten my contact information from Comic-Con is always Jeffrey M. Hi, Jeffrey M. or hey, Jeffrey M. whatever. But this said, hi, Jeff. I'm following up on my note from Friday. And I'm thinking, I didn't get an email from Funko Games last Friday. So on Thursday, a week from today, Funko Games is actually having a rooftop like gaming party for 3 hours, and it's just for press. So there was a link and it says, okay, RSVP here. So of course I go to the link and it says we're no longer accepting RSVPs. And the thing is, the email arrived just after I came down here into the Duct Tape Studios to get ready for last night's show. Like, damn it. So I did send an email to the person who had sent me the, hey, I'm following up. So pointing out, flaming here, it says, is Steve Jackson, my cameraman, because it's he who shall not be named. No. Now, I didn't say it's he who shall not be named. I just said I'm not naming names. So anyway, so I said, hey, I didn't get your email on Friday. And now I want to try to, RSVP for myself and plus one. Is there any way that you could squeeze 2 more in? Because that's what our outlet is about, Tabletop Games. So I don't know. Hadn't heard anything. But I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, oh, damn it. If I had just waited a little longer before I came down in the Duct Tape Studios. Anyway, I'm looking forward to Comic-Con. I always have a good time. I do a lot more like work at Gen Con than I do Comic-Con because usually we only have maybe 2-3 things that we cover at Comic-Con. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Quantum Phase Dragon and Tessie Trekkie are hanging with the gang tonight. So I was going to say, I mentioned earlier, this is the last show for a bit because there will not be any episodes of the Gaming Gang Dispatch next week, but I will be back the following Tuesday. I'm going to try to put together a couple of videos to release next week while I'm gone, just so it's not like completely, dead around here. So we'll see how that goes. And I figure I got the whole weekend. I've got, Monday and Tuesday because we're flying out Wednesday morning because we'll go to preview night as well. So And then a couple other parties we've gotten invited to. So we are RSVP'd for those. Quantum Phase Dragon says, never been to a con. Their friendly local game stores having one that they're going to go and try to make. I like conventions. I never have a bad time. So Bill N says, I could look up Wall's Dozer Draws, a Myers comic, The Last Session. It's a comic about gaming. Who's it through? What publisher? So, last thing, and then we will jump into our brief intermission and take a look at Peculiar Discoveries. I am going to be covering Gen Con once again, so of course I'll be back for a week of shows, and then I'll be off to Indianapolis. So if there are any publishers out there that you would like to see me do interviews with, let me know in the comments section. And yes, as people were discussing last night, you cannot comment while the stream is live. You have to wait until the show is over. Bill N said, Mad Cave? I've heard of Mad Cave, actually. In fact, I got an email from Mad Cave, I think it was today, inviting me to stop by and check out their stuff. And it's like, I don't know any of their comics. Madman says they've only been to Dragon Con and Gen Con. Yeah, well, never goes to Gen Con when I'm there. Just always go to Dragon Con. Kevin says sometimes those smaller cons are the best ones. You can find a good game or two to play. Yeah, I wish that you would have more, like, community, like, game weekends. We used to have that stuff back when I was in high school and just out of high school. It wasn't that difficult to find, like, some community center where they were doing tabletop gaming for the weekend, or maybe it was some church group or things like that. It's weird. You don't really see that as much anymore. But way more people game now. It's like, okay. So Madman says they're going to Gen Con next year. Got approval from the boss, Mrs. Madman. Nice. Very nice. All right. So as I mentioned, we're going to be taking a look at Peculiar Discoveries for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission. If this'll switch, what the heck's going on here? Hey, I know I've got it set up for the correct video this time, not like last night.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
This must be the bad guy's hideout.
The master of deductive reasoning.
Okay, listen up. The movie starts at 7:30. We walk in late, smoking, talking, and throwing trash.
That's real offensive. The people in the theater will be disgusted.
So that's the plan. They're going to try to ruin the movie for everyone else.
What are we gonna do?
I've been saving a special Bigfoot trick for just such an occasion.
Aha! It's the old saving a special trick. Come on, make way.
Last door on the left.
Oh, this is it. Okay, we're here. You can start the movie. What's this? This is your theater. You don't think they'd let you in with the grown-ups, do you?
Bigfoot, what are you doing here?
Stamping out abominable behavior in movie theaters.
Another fine mess.
Enjoy the show, guys.
Yeah. Nice day.
If this works, it'll taste better than Wilkins coffee. I guess nothing will taste better than Wilkins.
Make way for the gripper. It's catching on. Hit the gripper with a tricky paddle, but don't get tricked. Use one side to flip the gripper, the other side to grip it. Flip it, grip it. Hang it up. Grab points. Shoot for the edge. The gripper. It's catching on. The gripper ball. Sold alone or in the Whippet paddle set. New from Mattel.
Wow, a ball that has suction cups on it. Incredible. Some of these old toys, you're like, what? So I have to explain that WLS theater bit there. So that used to run, I remember it ran before movies. And I think it's from like 85, 86-ish. So growing up, if you liked rock and roll, you probably listened to WLUP in Chicago, in the Chicago area, which was called The Loop. Or if you listened to Top 40, then you listened to WLS. Now, The Loop was an FM channel. WLS was an AM channel. So you didn't listen to both. So if you listened to The Loop, you hated WLS. And if you listen to WLS, well, then people listen to The Loop. Well, they were all like bikers and yeah, stuff like that, right? Which, of course, wasn't the case. So, funny thing is, those were the disc jockeys for WLS who were in that commercial, including the bad guys from the Bad Guys Hideout. But one of the guys in that was Larry Lujak. The guy who talked the most was Larry Lujak. He was like the big DJ for WLS. And I couldn't stand him. As you could see, the comedy from that little snipe there was real, cheesy. And that's how he was. And we would listen to Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer on The Loop. So I stumbled across it. I remembered seeing it before, movies way back in the day. So I thought I'd toss it on in to tonight's brief intermission. Sarah D might remember Larry Lujak. I'm sure she knows of Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer because they're both still around separately here in the Chicago area. But so Flaming Heron says Jeff only likes his cheese on his hamburgers. Actually, I don't like cheese on hamburgers. I'm not a cheeseburger fan. Only thing I really like cheese on is pizza. Although, like ricotta and stuff like that and lasagna is fine, but no, I do not get cheeseburgers because I don't like the way cheese tastes with the burger. Plus, most restaurants, it's like plastic cheese. So, talking about Ben Franklin stores, Kevin King says the commercial reminded them of the junk toys his mom would get for him at Ben Franklin stores in the 70s. Yeah, they were right there with the Woolworth toys. Yes. All right, so tonight we are going to dive on in and take a first look at Peculiar Discoveries, which is for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. It is from Dreamplot. It's written by William Lawrence, Nico Singer, Russell Dodds, and I believe it's Giorgio Aloisio. Taking a stab on that last name, Aloisio. I probably butchered it. Sorry about that. This 240-page hardcover can be pre-ordered for approximately $42.99, or you can grab just the PDF for approximately $18.99 by way of a late pledge through Backerkit. All right, so stay tuned. I'm also going to tell you how you can get in the running to win the limited edition of Peculiar Discoveries that I've got. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Peculiar Discoveries. And I got to be honest, I think this looks a little too bright. I'm going to bring that down just a hair. Whoops. I'm going to change up my ISO a little bit. There we go. That looks a little better. Okay. So, do want to point out the fine folks over at Dream Plot were kind enough to send me both the standard edition as well as this limited edition of Peculiar Discoveries, but neither I nor anyone else. Ooh, let's get rid of that autofocus there, kids. Don't want any autofocus when we're looking at a book. Anyway, I was going to say, no one affiliated with the Gaming Gang, either myself or anyone else, has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And it's important that you know that. I'm not going to look at each and every page of Peculiar Discoveries, but I do want to give you a good feel for what we're going to find in this book. So let's take a look at the back here. Color your adventure with mysteries and fairy tales. With over 200 pages of new content for 5e, Peculiar Discoveries brings over 320 new items and companions designed to bring fun and joy to your table. This supplement focuses on creativity and quality content for both players and GMs to enjoy. Enrich your story and background with strange pets and hundreds of new fantastical magic items to discover. And it kind of talks about what's in the book, but we're going to just jump on into the book. So Bill asks, is the squirrel his buddy or badly failed perception check? No, I do believe this is one of the companions that is featured in the book. So we've got quite a few illustrators here. Let's give them a little credit. So this arrived from France. I got a package, and I was like, oh, it's from France. What is this? And it turned out it was Peculiar Discoveries. I believe the Kickstarter for this also included these decks of cards for the magic items and the companions and that. So I believe that's why it's got this section here, how to use the cards. But I don't think things are presented as cards. So it looks like we're going to start off with the companions. The animal companions presented in this section have been thought to enrich the role-playing experience of your players. They are little mascots that accompany their master on their adventures. They also bring a touch of cuteness, wonder, and a fairy tale feel to your games. They are therefore a bit out of sync with the classic 5e world that tends to be harsh and cruel. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if the 5e world is that harsh and cruel. I mean, yes, it is not. It's not as like fairy tale kind of themed, but it's certainly not like a grimdark. So here we have Annabelle Hector Mushy. I'm going to get a kick out of this because I get a kick out of little creatures and stuff like that. Brave plant beings saving their kingdom. So I was going to say, I believe that each of these companions are going to have some sort of quest. So we get a bit of a backstory, get a quest, get some tips. And then there's a bonus that you get, and then we get our stat blocks. So here's Armand, the dragon fruit, which, if you happen to be watching Tuesday night, I did a news piece about Peculiar Discoveries because this is still a pre-order. So this isn't out yet. So big thanks to the folks over at Dreamplot for sending these books along. And one of the images I was sharing was of Armand. It says, Armand is a kind, curious child, always up to learn new things. He's also a formidable cartographer and never loses his sense of direction. With Armand, you may add +1 to your animal handling, nature, perception, and survival checks. So, and there is a quest. So he's looking to cure some sort of tree that is diseased. So that is his quest. Kevin King says, I don't think the tone of this would work with the campaigns I tend to run. Yeah, you know, to be honest, I'm one of these people who, as far as fantasy role-playing games go, I like to have more of a fairy tale vibe to it. So like, that's one of the reasons why I think Dolan Wood seems pretty cool. So I probably wouldn't go overboard with some of these. Like, I wouldn't have each of the player characters have a companion. I might have the entire group have one, maybe two. Oh, we have Jackie Paper. Hey, isn't that violating copyright? What's going on, Jackie Paper? So it says Jackie Straper lived in a village that sat upon the edge of a great forest named Greenwood, where fey folk were known to live and druids practiced their living arts. All respected the boundary between the two places, with the humans harvesting wood from further away. The boy was obsessed with fire. Oh, here we go. And begged to be an apprentice of the blacksmith when he was old enough. When told that he would become a farmer like his parents, he rebelled by setting fires, I should say. Children shouldn't play with fire, his mother would say. His father called him a firebug. One day, Jackie Straper wandered into the woods with his father's flint and steel, began setting fire to the leaves, much to his amusement. You. Fleming Aaron says, you love that rascal Puff. We have Karma the Chameleon. Wonder if that's supposed to be like a nod to Boy George. Culture Club. Kitten Faye. I was going to say, I'm kind of surprised the images were so small here. Looks like we get a little bit bigger. So we have Ator Zillion Platypuff, who's a culinary genius. Scott B. Smith is hanging with us. Good to see you. These are kind of fun. Sulu Durdik Selimfella Hillabump, the best and only Engineer Owl. Stelly the Raccoon. Yeah, I would say it looks as if some of these are a little sillier than others. We've got the Absolute Shield and Ultimate Sword. That's kind of creepy looking. I would think that'd be evil. That would be a companion for evil player characters. We got, looks like we've got some gauntlets. Are we moving into magic items? Oh, we're going awakened items. Here's the book. That is the limited edition book. Remember, here's the teeth. That's it right there. So the companions are broken up into like natural companions or, not awakened or uplifted items. And then we've got awakened items. Brumella. Not sure what Brumella is. Okay. So we've got some gauntlets. Kirsa the book. So that's what the limited edition is supposed to be, is Kirsa the book. Romantic storyteller, wondrous item, rare. Kirsa is a magical spellbook that can be used as a focus. It appears to be a volume of verbose romantic fiction to anyone else. As an action, you can change the book's appearance and alter the plot of the romance. Once per day, as a bonus action on your turn, you can read the book to gain a spell slot up to level 3. This spell slot must be used to cast an illusion spell or disappear after 1 minute. So we get a backstory for the book. We get the quest. Interesting. Mimic belt, mimic boots, mimic cloak, mimic scabbard, mustache hammer. Is that for mustache rides? Oh! Flaming Heron says, if I was playing a really zany game, some of these might make sense. Also said, more than a little silly with some of these. All right, so on a successful hit in combat, the mustache hammer deals 2d6 hit points of bludgeoning damage. Targets must make a 15 DC Constitution saving throw or immediately grow a mustache. This growth will cause all attacks to be at a disadvantage. Kevin King says their youngest gaming group would probably like quite a lot of this. I'm sure some of these are a little more along the lines of, little creatures that you'd encounter in other adventures and stuff, not overly silly. So here we've got, I think we're now into the magical items. And I believe these are broken up kind of by type. So we have demonic items here. Infernal chip, necklace of evil sight. The squid cutlass. Well, I don't think these would be demonic anymore. Oh, maybe they are. Disturbing teddy bear. This teddy bear has harnessed years and years of dark energy, which it uses to frighten the foes of its current owner. By the way, the teddy bear's name is Annabelle. Spiked gauntlets. And it looks like we get them grouped by rarity as well. So these are very rare. Flail of Fear. In case anyone was curious, that's what a flail looks like. You have a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls with this magic weapon. While wielding this magic flail, you have advantage on attacks made against creatures that are frightened. So we have legendary items, Agony and Ecstasy, Hellfire, Mask of the Forgotten God. Artwork's pretty good throughout, I have to say. Okay, so what are we getting here? Elven items. Comb of Style. These are common items. Coin of Leaves. Feyborn Boots. Potion of Druidity. Or I guess it's Druidry. I thought it was Druidity. So Kevin says one player in the younger kids group has given herself a goal of collecting pseudo-dragon pets / companions. She'd probably love a game put together using this book. I don't know. I don't think we have a lot of little dragon companions in here. Got some rare items here, legendary items. Harp of the Fey Queen. This mystical harp is a powerful Fey-touched item. It can be used as a spell-casting focus. As an action, you may play this harp, targeting up to 4 creatures that can hear its melody. Each of these creatures must make a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw, becoming charmed on a failed save. Next up, we've got Alliance items. So these are human. I think human and dwarves. Because it talks about humans talking about dwarves. So it must be a human and dwarf alliance. Gem of False Worth. Living Origami. The King's Idol. Parenthood. Okay. The longer you wear it, the more you feel responsible for your party members' health and comfort. Donning this hood gives the following features. Oh, you start feeling like you're their parent. When one of your party members takes damage, you can add +1 to any damage roll you make against that creature that harmed your party member before the end of your next turn. Provided you have common ingredients on hand, once per day you can cook a delicious soup like a chef. The party members who consume it can roll an extra D4 when recovering their first hit die. Well, these are rare items here. Legendary items, Gloves of the Alliance, Crown of Solidarity. Are these Celestials? They are Celestials. That's a good guess, huh? The Celestial Feather. For a second, I thought this said Celestial Flea. And then something else. Like, what? I'm like, oh, feather. Okay, I got it. So yeah, Flaming Red says with that parenthood, go to your room, mow the lawn, do your chores. Yeah, I can get behind that. Bill N says, always bring soup. Tessie Trekkie says, that parenthood sounds nice for a cleric. Kevin King also pointed out they're not sure if they could stand to run a game that was put together with the companions in this book. Well, obviously, this is aimed at a particular sort of game. It's not like, oh yes, we're playing some Dragonlance, and hey, by the way, Sarah D is rocking on out. So good to see you, Sarah. Hope to see you when I return from San Diego Comic-Con. We have the Radiance, which is a legendary staff, which requires attunement by a druid, sorcerer, or wizard. We have Wrath. It's a great sword, legendary. You gain +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made against creatures that damaged you or one member of your party with this magic weapon. Whether you take the attack action using this weapon to attack a demon or an undead, you may make an additional attack as part of that action. Tessie Trekkie says, Boo and Minsk would fit nicely into this book. Well, Minsk, I don't know. I would think Boo. Minsk is just kind of a goofball. That's just his thing. Like he's been hit in the head a few too many times. Ring of Chill Touch. You know, I always felt that Minsk comes across as, at least in the game, comes across as being punch drunk. I know that's not a term that's used too much anymore, but it's just the vibe I always got from that character in Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2. All right, so what kind of things are these? These are certainly not celestial. So what did I skip past? Undead items. There we go. Flying eyeball. Wondrous item. It's legendary. This enchanted eyeball was created as the ultimate tool for infiltration and espionage. You may speak this item's command word to activate it, and while it is active, you may use your action to move the eyeball up to 30 feet in any direction and see what it sees. There's no limit to how far away from you the eyeball can move, but it can't enter another plane of existence. Creepy. We'll mention the paper stock, pretty solid. It's a little thicker than what we would be used to seeing from, say, Wizards of the Coast. As you can see, it does have a bit of a treatment to it, so there is a bit of glare that you're seeing on camera. But I would think this book should hold up pretty well. Got a lucky rabbit's paw. An orcish rapier. Right. So this is obviously not undead. These are goblinoid items. Staff of Grum. So I should ask, when I'm doing page throughs of books, do you prefer that I read things like, take a moment to read through a little section or paragraph or whatever? Or would you rather I'm just flipping through as quickly as possible? I'm curious. I had a relatively nasty comment, which I just deleted. I didn't give a shit. You know how I am. Like, whatever. But it was somebody saying that I spent too much time, like, reading entries from the books that I paged through. They were complaining about the Salzenmund book for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Bill N says, whatever's fun for you. Well, to me, personally, I find this to just be more appropriate, because one of the things that I don't know if a lot of people realize is there are folks who tune in for the show or who watch the show after the fact, but they listen to it as if it were a podcast. So I don't think it would be all that entertaining for me to just be flipping pages and somebody's like listening in as if it were a podcast and all they're hearing pages flipping. Kevin R. Smith says, so someone just wants to see a succession of page layouts and pictures? How boring. Kevin King says, for what it's worth, flip throughs and reviews help me decide if a book is something I want to buy. Well, that's what this is all about. It's for you to get a first look at it as well as I do. And I don't cheat. I really do not look inside these books until I crack it open. So, oh, geez. Flaming Aaron says, maybe the sound of page turning. Is there ASMR? Don't even start with that. Dude, someone I'm really good friends with is into that, and it just creeps the shit out of me. Because it's like, does your wife know about this? That's just way too bizarre. All right, so we were looking at some mounts. So we had some mounts. Here we go. We have an animated chest if you want to ride that. Turquoise river dragon, great swamp frog, giant beetle. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed by this, even though some of the content is probably not aimed at the sort of D&D game that some of you run out there, or some of you out there run, I guess I should say. It makes a little more sense. I'm liking what I see. Plus, it's another one of these, creature books, magic item books. They tend to be very popular with game masters. And then we get an adventure. Well, how about that? The Corrupted Company. The Corrupted Company is meant as a first to fifth level fairy tale-ish adventure for a party of 3 to 6 players, set in a custom fairy tale-ish setting. By the way, it's not fairy tale setting, it's fairy tale-ish. Every chapter of the story covers a level and can be played as a one-shot of 3 to 4 hours. I would hope in the 3 to 4 hour session, you're not going from first to fifth level. Tessie Trekkie asks, does the chest have hundreds of little legs and a psychotic hatred of chainsaws? So just taking a peek. Chapter 1, A Strange Amphibian. I was not expecting an adventure in this book, to be very honest. That's kind of cool. I think that is one of the companions. Azo. He's a familiar, or was a familiar, of a powerful warlock. So I think that Dream Plot is essentially kind of a Patreon-fueled content site. I think this is their first like major release that's actually like a physical book. I think they got another one that's coming to Kickstarter. And I think it is, if I remember correctly, and I might be thinking of something completely different, but I could have swore I thought it's either a setting or it is an adventure. Oh, hey, cool. There we go. Get a little bookmark. So it looks like we're going to wrap up with this adventure here. So I mean, there's quite a bit to it. It certainly doesn't look like an adventure that you would wrap up in 3 to 4 hours. I mean, there's quite a few chapters to it. And quite a few creatures. Like, we've got all these stat blocks and that. I think it would take a bit longer than just a single session. All right. So there we have the adventure. We're going to wrap up. We've got an index. And that is everything from... Man said, I love the ribbon bookmarks. Unfortunately, so do my cats. I know all about that. Anyway, so that is Peculiar Discoveries, 5e Magic Treasures and Companions from Dream Plot. You can pre-order the hardcover for approximately $42.99. It's because it's not here in the U.S. It's exchange rate. Like I said, these two books came from France. So I don't know if that's where Dream Plot is located or that's where they were printed, but that's where they arrived from. You can get this for $42.99, or you can get just the PDF. I think this includes the PDF for $42.99. Or you can get just the PDF for approximately $18.99. And both are by way of late pledge through Backerkit. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera because I'm going to talk about how. All right, come on. What is going on here? There we go. Some strange reason it's not changing scenes. That's what they call scenes in OBS. Like as quickly as normal. Of course, there was another Windows update earlier today, so it's always a struggle when that happens. Desi Frankie says, well, I enjoy grim dark games as much as the next nerd. Sometimes it's nice to play in a setting that's more lighthearted and wholesome. It doesn't have to be wholesome to be lighthearted, though. I gotta be honest, I am not really a grimdark sort of gamer. But then again, I also don't consider like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay to be grimdark. I know some folks have said, yeah, Wifrip is grimdark. And I'm like, no, not my opinion. Grimdark's usually like everybody's fucked. I mean, that's what grimdark is about, right? Grimdark's sort of, no matter what you do, your characters do, it's still not really going to make a difference. So, I don't know. Just kind of, me. Agent Especial says, gross dark. Madman says, the camera's not changing scenes right away or functioning like my brain lately. Well, it's not the cameras. The cameras are fine. It's OBS Studio, the program that I use to stream and do my videos too. All right, so remember, I told you I was going to explain how you could get your hands on this copy of the limited edition of Peculiar Discoveries. Remember, this is their mouth. Those are the teeth. Gonna make it easy, right? Number one, got to be a subscriber to the channel. That's always a factor. Got to be a subscriber. Number two, like this video. Number three, and of course, I can't really check to see if you like the video, but do me a favor, like the video. Number three, in the comment section, which remember, you can't comment while the stream is live. Let me know as a player or as a game master, it's your choice, what you would look forward to most about having companions in your adventures for your campaigns. And you don't have to write a novella. Just tell me what you would look forward to most. Like as a player, what do you think would be the most fun about having like a little companion, like a mascot for your group? Same goes as a game master. What do you think would be the most fun for your players or for yourself? Because that's an aspect of being game master. I think some people forget the game master needs to have a good time too. Otherwise, what the hell's the point of running a game? So there you go. And what I will do is I will choose a winner and I will announce that winner when I share my review of Peculiar Discoveries, which of course, obviously enough, will be after I get back from San Diego Comic-Con. So I would say it'll be before Gen Con. I promise you that. So easy peasy. Subscriber, thumbs up, talk about companions. Done. And it'll be random. I'm not going to choose like the best answer or anything like that. I will randomly choose one of those comments and I will actually send it anywhere in the world that I can ship things to. So if you happen to be watching in North Korea right now, you're SOL. But thanks for watching. Anyway, that is it for this time out. Once again, I will remind you, no shows next week. But I will have some videos up and I will try to like chime in from San Diego. So if you follow me on Twitter, I'll probably have some tweets out there. I might actually get some video coverage up while I'm out there. I am bringing my laptop with, so see what happens with that. Anyway, fingers crossed. Like I said, it's going to be a weird Comic-Con with the writers and now the actors on strike, I think it's going to be kind of bizarre, but that's okay. That's fine. To me, this is more like a vacation than anything else. I go to San Diego Comic-Con more for my brother and my best friend Elliot than me. So I'm like, yeah, I have a good time, but I could take it or leave it. Gen Con is my convention. I say that all the time. It's my favorite convention. That is my con. So that's it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. I'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my first look at Masters of Dune for Dune Adventures in the Imperium from Modifius Entertainment. Yes. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your part of the woods. Thank you, everybody, for the well wishes for San Diego Comic-Con. I will certainly make sure to have a good time, and I will regale you with stories when I come back, like I always do. So, thank you very much for tuning on in. I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Appreciate all of you taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. So, until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you enjoys plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.